What we're looking at is our space dashboard of our IDN Space and Work product. So it's based on your role. So if I'm a space manager, this is the view that I could be looking at. If I'm a work manager, I'm just going to click on this menu option at the top. You can see we've got work, property, administration. I'll just click on our work management dashboard. And you can see if I'm a work manager, I'm going to see a different view, different widgets. We call these graphs on the corners here to be widgets. And those are completely customizable. I'm just going to go back to our space dashboard. And before I get into the actual demonstration of how to upload drawings and so forth, I'm just going to give you a orientation, a walkthrough of the system to give you some sort of context. What we're looking at here, again, I'm the space manager. So we've got categorization, status, which refers to whether a space is available, occupiable, reservable. Buildings, next we have assigned seating or a list of all people that are contacts in the system. Background data, we have reports, we have find options for finding a person, finding a space, reserving a space, and managing visitors. So what we're going to look at, we're going to go into our buildings list and just going to navigate through. Here's a list of all the buildings in our sample organization. We don't have to look at it in this fashion. We call this a card view or make a tile view. If you're more used to a list view, we can just do it like this. And you can see it's broken down by the type of building that it might be. I'm going to come to our commons building. Again, we're just giving you a walkthrough. We're going to go to show details. So if I'm the building manager or space manager, this is our landing point for a particular building. So you can see at a glance, we've got multiple floors here. We've got a roof, and we've even got an exterior floor plan with a site plan. Up at the top here, we've got the ability to edit additional details about this particular building. So if we're interested in its address, its latitude, longitude, the date it was built, and so forth, we can dive into those details here. Also, we can see what documents are associated with it, all the spaces in this particular building, all listed here. You can export that to Excel if you need to. Then we've got reports. You can have a total space summary report just for this building. And what we've got here is a PDF output of a building summary space report. So at the upper left, you can see there's a 7-page report. So above that page 1 of 7 is the space summary. As we've paged through this report, and you can print this out to a PDF or to export and email it to someone. Here, this is exactly what you'd see. You got a nice legend here at the bottom, tells you that we've got one overutilized space here. And just quickly page through each floor of this building. And here's our site plan, as you can see. And we got a roof plan. So that's a building-specific report, and you can have global reports, all buildings in your portfolio as well. Quickly here, we've got EC occupancy status is currently highlighted. So it's showing us the occupancy on each floor of this building. If I toggle over to categories, now you can see all the categories. We've got 566 square feet of building services on this floor and so forth. And again, we can dive into look at that floor plan and get additional details. We can zoom in. We can print. If I go to our print option here, we can print to PDF. We can print to PNG. We can export to DWG if you wish. And importantly, we can print to architectural ED, every paper size that you can imagine. Here, what this say, 11 by 17. And I'll just go to print. And what we're printing here is an occupancy plan. Downloads our PDF here. I'll bring that up. And if you're going to email this to somebody in your organization, here it is. It's got occupancy details, capacity, overutilized. We can zoom in, and you can see that people's actually, their names in the spaces. And as I zoom in with more detail, this is what they call vector-based PDF. So you can see the hatch patterns are nicely rendering as we zoom in. and we got the people's names and so forth. So you can print this out and send it to somebody. It's just fabulous. We'll come back here. And let's say we are working on a different, what we're looking at here is our desktop view. And if you're walking through the building with your phone or an iPad or something like that, I'm just going to quickly emulate what that looks like using a F12 key here. So if you're walking to your facility with your iPhone or your Android phone or any device that can render a web page, basically, you can, the system automatically recognizes what device you're using, and the dashboard then reorganizes itself. We still have our widgets here. If we're looking to say we're looking for somebody, I showed up at the facility and I'm looking for Vaughn Jones, and I'm not sure exactly where he is, so I can just put on this find person option, and here a little simple form comes up, and I'm going to say I'm looking for Mr. Jones, and I'll just do a quick search. And it finds two people in this case. We've got Bill and Bon. I'm interested in finding Bon. So it brings up his personal details. And if I just come down here, you can see exactly where Vaughn Jones is sitting. Nice handy little tool. Throw her back to our dashboard. And I'm going to zip over to our work management dashboard. So I'm changing roles here. Our work dashboard as opposed to our space dashboard. So if I'm looking for a particular piece of equipment, I can also rotate this. So what I'm demonstrating here essentially is that whether you're working at a desktop or you're a mobile user, you don't have to switch applications. Don't have a UX interface to some other IWMatic. This is the same application running on any device, and it's also optimized so that if you're poking with your finger instead of a mouse, you can have these larger tile type views, or if you wished, you can still go to a list view and see all your equipment and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to exit out of here and I go back for our desktop because it's a little bit easier for the demonstration. And what we're looking at here is a list of equipment. We do preventative maintenance and so forth. And I'm just going to click on this particular piece of equipment here. It's an AED device. So you can see there's an image of it. It's got, if there's any work orders against it, if there's any PMs. And importantly, because we are a space and work-centric, space-centric application, everything comes down to space. So where is this device? Well, it's in room 132 in the downtown campus, okay. Well, let's show that on the floor plan. Everybody's visual. Okay, that AED is located in this kitchen. Easy to find. While we're here in this equipment view, we can do a filter or we can do an explicit search. I'm looking for an electrical panel. We have thousands and thousands of pieces of equipment. You can easily distill it down to just a couple of records. And this is the panel that I'm interested in. So I'm going to view and edit that. And up comes this equipment record, like we saw with the AED device just earlier. There's an image of the panel. It's got a location on a floor plan, so that panel is located somewhere in this space, D130. But if we want to go further, I mentioned our Matterport integration. We can say, well, what does it actually look like in the space? Like, where is that panel in that space? And here it is right here. So you can say, there's our electrical panel. And again, we've got a dynamic view. You can say, where is that panel in the context of this space, right? So this is really you might have seen this in real estate applications. People look at houses and so forth. You can imagine if you'd never been in this building before, you can now almost virtually do that. Okay, so that's sort of our introduction to the space and work interface. And again, I'm really excited about this business, just so easy to use. Before we go to that further, you can see we have these widgets, we call them these graphs, on the corner of each of these dashboards. And depending on your role, you will have buttons that this may be configured differently depending on your role, different options. But if you want to change these reports dynamically, I can just click on this corner and we can kick from the list of other dynamic reports. So let's say I would like to see this one instead on my dashboard. I'll just click that and say OK. And now you can see that that report is now on my dashboard. And it's not just a static report. You can see as I mouse over these items, it gives the details. I come over here and you can say, well, we have 352 underutilized spaces. So these widgets are not just images, they are dynamic. Okay, so enough of that. We are now going to get into the actual demo portion of the event, and I'm going to show you how to get managing your facilities in minutes, not months. Anecdotally, you hear of these projects that take 1 or 2 years to get up to speed. But with these complex IDWMS systems, we are not an SAP. We are a QuickBooks, if you want to use that sort of metaphor. All your drawings in place, you can get up and running very quickly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on our Buildings button, and we are going to come to this Riverfront Center because we've just added a new floor to this building, let's say, and I'm going to come in here and look at our details. Before we sort of get started here, I'm just going to pause, explain to you what I'm about to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a floor record in a building, and then we're going to link a drawing file, a DWG file to that floor. And once that's linked in, we're going to just quickly go in and show you how you can categorize space. It's an office, it's a storage room. How to assign surfaces. Does it have carpeting? Does it have ceramic tile? Assign people. Is Bob sitting in this room and Joe sitting in that room? What's the organization? Can assign all of those details to individual spaces. And then finally, we're going to print out some reports and so get a service request. So over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to load a floor plan, categorize a space, assign people, and run a service request against that. So let's get started. So here we have our Riverfront Center. I'm going to create a new floor with this option here, and our floor code, we'll call it the 4th floor because that's what we're bringing in. So we just have 2 required fields here, the 4th floor ID and name. We're going to save that. It confirms it. And you can see this 4th floor record shows up here in our details. And we don't see an image of that, of course, as we haven't linked it yet. So I'll just click on this little chevron on the right side, and we're going to click on our floor plan option. And over here on the left, it's currently showing us one of the current floors. I'm going to navigate to our 4th floor, which is the one that we just created. You can see that it says the specified drawing does not exist. That's what we're going to do next. We've got, with the interface here, I think it's very user-friendly. We have these icons instead of words. You can mouse over it and tells you what you can do with it. These are our tools. We've got you can mouse over again to see what each of these do. We're going to link our floor plan. So this link button is what I'm going to click. On the right-hand side, it's expecting us to upload a file called 03404, which is the 4th floor of this particular building. I'm going to click on our navigation. And here is our 03404 floor plan. This is a DWG file. I'm going to bring them in, and it reads it. And again, I can use my mouse wheel to zoom rating here and have a look at it. And for those that are familiar with AutoCAD and facilities management tools, each of these rectangles is a polyline or a closed boundary. And the number inside that is the room identifier. You can see in this case, the room identifier is kind of obscured by the equipment symbols in that space. So that's what our floor plan looks like. We've also got that floor plan open up here in a CAD software called DraftSite. So for those of you that are familiar with AutoCAD or other CAD software tools, you'll recognize this. And one important note I want to make here is that unlike other IWMS systems, you do not need any kind of AutoCAD plugin. You don't need to use AutoCAD. You can use DraftSite. You can use AutoCAD LT. You can use any CAD software you want as long as it can save a DWG file. And then we can work with that. So that's You don't have to purchase any other CAD software in order to use our system. So what we're going to do now, just to get back on track, we're loading this floor plan. We've got some options here. On the upper right, we've just selected this plan, and we can do a floor link. And I'm just going to click on this link button. And it's getting to read the polylines that are on the exterior of this plan. And it reports us, we got 20,949 square feet. That's really cool. It's not all it's fit. What about the spaces? I can click on the spaces template here. And I think click on our link button, and it's going to read all the spaces on this plan. And everything looks pretty good except for these two spaces right here that are colored orange or red. And if you look at our legend, it says we got 205 spaces that are good, and we got two duplicates. So that's telling us that we have duplicate room IDs in those spaces, and we don't want to bring that in with that error. So we can fix that, and I'm just going to zip back over to our drawing file here, and I'm going to zoom into that spot, and you can see, oh, we had about two spaces here with the same number. That's obviously a problem. I'm going to click on one of these room numbers here and come over here and change that to what it's supposed to be. 574. And we'll just save our drawing. So yes, that drawing's been updated. And now I'm going to reselect that file because it's going to reread it. And we come in here now, we're going to have another look at it. We put on our spaces link. And everything looks good now. There's no errors, there's no duplicate text. And we could just commit this right now if we wanted to. But we've got a couple other tools that I want to show you. Before you load this drawing, we can prepare it. So where is this drawing coming from? I'm going to click on this prep option here. This brings us into a different doing editor. And we've got three basic tools here. We've got third-party layers. So we've got none, which means this is a brand new drawing. It's got the IDN layers already in place. We don't have to do any layer management. But what if this is coming in from Archibus? What if it's coming in from Centerstone, Troy Rigu, iOffice? We've got tools that will manage all of that. So you don't have to be a CAD expert. You don't have to go into CAD and change all the layers to whatever software you're working with. We can just automatically process that for you. So if, let's say, you're coming in from iOffice, it will read that drawing. It'll understand the layers that iOffice uses. It'll convert them to the IDN layers if you wish. It will understand where you're coming from. And part of our compatible, affordable, friendly mobile message is compatibility. We're compatible with our competitors, if you will. So going along, we have the next section here is asset text preparation. So if I zoom in here, you can see that the room numbers are quite large. They're in the middle of the space. In this space here, it's being obscured. So we've got this option here to move text. And not just move the text, we can resize it. So the text can be proportional to the size of the space. So we've got some tiny little janitor's closet. You know, the room number will be proportionally sized. And then the other options we have down here, we can create IDN layers. We can hide hatches. I'm just going to unselect all of these as our drawing is coming in with IDN layers. But we're going to do the move text. I'm just going to click on this prepare drawing option. So what it's doing now, it's reading that drawing file, reading all the text, moving that text, resizing it. And the reason we're doing this, it just makes the drawing a lot more manageable, actually. And here we go. We're all prepared. And I'm going to zoom right back into that equipment room, and you can see what's happened here. It's moved that text to the lower left corner. It's no longer obscured. Over here, you can see all the text has been moved. So that's what the drawing preparation tool does for us. And now we're going to do the lake. Okay, so we're going to click on our floor. We're going to click on the lake option. Everything looks good, and we're going to commit those changes. So this is the first time that we've actually created any data really of the database, because we've analyzed the drawing. Now we're committing it to our database. And next step is to click on our spaces template. We'll do our length. There's all our spaces. These are coming into the database, and we're going to create 207 these spaces, and we're going to commit those changes now. Cool. And there we are. I'm going to refresh this. And now you can see there's our 4th floor with the image. And if you flip on length space, you can see all the spaces that are linked. We've got 207 spaces in total on that floor. The entire building has 43,000 square feet. We can come in, have a look at that floor that we just linked. So we've got our drawing linked. What do we do now? I'm zooming in with my mouse wheel, as you can see. We've got number tools on the side here. We've got occupancy. We've got surfaces. So let's start with surfaces. We're going to virtually walk through our building. We're coming through with a tablet, let's say, and we click on this space. And you can see on the right-hand side here, it says there's no surface currently assigned. I can click on this button, and I could say, well, that space has carpet. And of course, that list of flooring is completely modifiable. I'm going to save that. And you'll see the color changes accordingly. I can also select multiple spaces. So instead of just selecting one at a time, I can hold down the Shift key, and I can do a multi-select like this. And it says you've got 8 records selected. So I can take them all in this case, categorize them. I can say they are offices, they are cubicles. I can say they have a assignable status. We can put people in those spaces. They all have carpet. And even if they all work for the same organization, we can come in and select that as well. They make work for this department and this division, and hit save. So as you're doing your space survey, as you're walking through the facility, you can update the details like that. You can see I clicked on this categorization button, and we have a legend button over here. So it says we've got currently 288 square feet of office space, or in this case, cubicles. If we click on our organization, you can say, oh, there's the division department we just assigned for this business. Okay, moving along, what about people as you're doing your walkthrough? You want to assign people to spaces. We'll go to our chairs and click on this chair, talks about occupancy. And you'll see that displays this people button here, list of individuals who need to be assigned to spaces. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring up a listing here of all the people that currently are in the system. And if we look at our filter options, what it's currently showing us here is all internal contacts, people that do not currently have seating, and they have an active status. Well, I'm going to say, well, we've got some contractors that just joined us. They need place to sit. I'm going to click on contractor. I don't really care what the status does. And we make sure that they currently don't have any seating assigned. I'm going to apply that filter. And it comes up with the much shorter list of contractors in this case that we can assign seating to. I'm going to put Danny Ocean here. When I click on his name, right at the top, it says assign Danny Ocean. It's waiting for me to tick a space. I'm going to put Danny right there. And you can see if his name pops up. And as I zoom in, zoom out, it resizes the text accordingly. So it makes it easy to visualize. If I can just keep going along like that, I can put that line as Gib in there. Yeah, we can get Frank over here. And it's just that easy. Just drag and drop people. Now they are assigned to that space. Come back to our tool. So I click on that space now. You can see it shows Danny Ocean. He's there. I can view edit that particular individual's personnel record. So I can see the organization they worked for, their space assignment, and so forth. That's been updated. And I can come here and look at the full edit form for the space itself. So what is the details of this space? Here's the area, the division organization, the type of category type of space, and as you can see, it shows us Danny Ocean is assigned to that, and if there's options here to unassign that person, and of course, to add new people to the space. It's here by using this assign personnel button. Okay, so as we're doing our space walkthrough, We're identifying people, surfaces, organizations, etc. What about if we come across a piece of equipment that we want to identify? So I'm going to click on this equipment button over here on the left. And it's going to change to the equipment mode. And up at the top here, it says click on an equipment symbol, or we can actually add new equipment symbols. So let's say there's a fire extinguisher that we noticed in this particular space, and we want to make note of that. We could put a list of symbols here. I can flip on the plus sign, and then I can come in here and I can drop that fire extinguisher symbol on our drawing. That's kind of big, so I can click on that, and I can change the scale of it, make it say smaller. I can move it, so I could say, well, it's actually over here. Change the color and so forth. That symbol is placed. I can click on it. I can go to the full edit form. So as I'm walking through the facility, I can identify particular pieces of equipment that I want to manage. I can scan the barcode if I was using my mobile device here, catching them. How we can get the equipment quickly into the system. And lastly, we're going to look at our service request option. So let's say as you're walking through this space, you notice that there's a leak or there's some sort of issue that needs to be repaired. I can click on this hard hat guy here, and I can click on a space. And at the top, again, it says service requests. Click on a space, and I've got this option up here. It says service request. I can quickly open up a service request. I can say, well, what's the problem? It's a custodial issue. The trash all over the place. Want to empty that trash out. And if you want to take a picture of it, I don't have a camera associated here, but if I had a picture that was to select here, I could do that and then just hit submit. Or I could take a photo of the trash situation. And then once we've got that mode, I can click on the hard hat and I can see as a work manager where there are work requests in the system. And I could say, oh, there's a work request in this space. What is it? I can click on that space. So I click on that space. It shows me the work request that's currently there. I can go in and I can view the details of it. And if I say, okay, I'm going to approve this work request. Every time you change status, it's going to want to know a little bit of detail of what happened. I can go and print this work order out. At the bottom here, we have a print option. And I want to send this off to a tradesperson to fulfill this work request. Here we got a work order that we can either print out or email to the tradesperson, could be outside contractor. And here's the basic details. And then page 2 actually shows you where that location is on a floor plan. You can imagine someone who's not familiar with the floor plan. Where is this room? Here it is, quickly, no problem. And of course, you can display this on your mobile device as well. Okay, well, I don't know how long that took. That was about half an hour. So here we are, managing from nothing to service requests, people assignments, all in minutes, not months. And getting back to our website, if you want to learn more, we have our spaceandwork.net product site. Click on this Learn How button, and here we have a series of videos and how to get up and running. Link your drawings, upload your company data. One thing we didn't show is data import tools. You can upload all your company data from your existing systems or Excel spreadsheets and get up and running quickly. Thanks for watching, everyone.